All right, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Greene here, General Greene preparing for nuclear war. Thousands, I'm not joking, thousands and thousands of American troops are being sent to the Middle East to go fight on behalf of Israel. What is looking like is very much self-described as a holy war. We are now in a religious war against two factions of society. This is biblical. You're hearing this at the churches here in America. I mean, everybody, politicians, conservatives, right, left, everybody's on the same page. They're all calling for world war, total conflict, total, I can't even use the words, but everybody wants this war now.
This is what running for your life looks like in Gaza.
And honestly, I feel like people are missing the bigger purpose here, because I don't hear anyone calling for peace or thinking this through. I mean, look, Benjamin Netanyahu, extremely disliked in Israel. He pushed this thing in your shoulder bigger than anybody. He's promised a surveillance state, biological, biometric tracking, all the things that most of us are against, right? All these things. But now suddenly, after many people believe him standing down along with Mossad for over 7 hours and allowing homemade hang gliders to come in through the Iron Dome. Yeah, like we really believe that just happened. Now, suddenly, everyone's calling for war. Everyone wants nuclear war. And it's now obvious, even though I've been predicting it for years, I've gotten so much crap for this, predicting that Taiwan would be invaded imminently. Now everybody's saying it. Everyone's saying this now. They're like, oh yeah, of course, Christopher. We definitely know that Taiwan's going to be invaded by China. Absolutely. Yeah, and this is all going to kick off nuclear Armageddon. I mean, where have you been, Christopher? Dude, I've been predicting this. Even this year, I produced a host of videos. Recently, I said Taiwan will be invaded very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to watch podcast number 2. This information has not been disclosed to the world. This is the first time. This isn't just media. This is going to get you ready for an imminent blockade in Taiwan, a possible embargo, and what I believe will be an invasion in the next 1 to 2 months. That's my opinion. Get ready, get prepared. Most importantly, those that freaking out. Expect war. I warned in early October that there would be a dramatic event in the Middle East. I said, keep your eyes on Israel. It's exactly what has happened. So time immemorial, we see this play out. We see the con, right? People are so conned by this right now, and they're going to wake up very soon, because the people rooting for war are actually rooting for their own demise. This is what they don't understand. Many of you will perish rooting for this war. So they could be sending your kids, honestly, on the front lines outside of here in the United States to not only fight in Ukraine, Taiwan, but now Israel as well. So look, I mean, we support the people of Israel, but there's a difference between supporting the people of Israel and supporting, the criminal, corrupt politicians that we don't like. And there's some truth to that. So it's just one big con. The whole media, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, the whole fake news media wants this war now. And it's why they're pushing it, and they're getting away with it, because anytime you talk about the children, okay, or Israel being attacked, you can't go against it. It was the same thing regarding the last thing that we're not allowed to talk about. So hook, line, and sinker, American people totally being conned. And as a result of this, there's going to be a World War III holy war now. It's going to erupt all across the mainland. There are satellites of the Arab world here impregnated in the United States, because they've kept our borders open intentionally. Now they're going to explode, okay, as a result of the aggression that we're seeing. So this doesn't end well. You've got millions of Palestinians with nowhere to go. There's no place for them to go. They have no food or water. These are gross human atrocities on both sides, Israel and Palestine. The churches want war, okay? Your neighbor wants war. Even the most conservative figure now is calling for war. They've got a lust in their eye. You can see demons in their eye right now, just the fire that they want vengeance so bad. It's all one giant con. So let's talk about a little scripture. I was reading about, be prepared though, because we're going to have nuclear war now. Economic, financial collapse, etc. Everything I warned about. Taiwan will be invaded very shortly. And China and Russia are going to take over the entire world and destroy Babylon. They're going to destroy the United States now, which is the intention, because we can't afford these wars, and we're going to lose, just like we've currently lost. Let's talk about the book of Amos, or Amos. I've heard people say, or pronounce 2 different ways. I'm training because I'm getting ready for war. You're going to have to be physically fit when all this starts to drop. Mainland's going to be terrible. Get out of the cities. There's a reason why I moved out of the cities years ago, because the cities will be the worst. You'll have the panicking soccer moms in their minivans. They will be the most dangerous, actually, when they, can't get their kids to soccer practice or the grocery stores closed. Just like we saw with the run on toilet paper a couple of years ago. It's going to be much, much worse. Food, water shortages here in the United States, electrical grid power outages, EMPs, all of it will be implemented, especially during the invasion of Taiwan. So have fun, guys. Remember, your politicians did this, okay? When you support Benjamin Netanyahu, who wants to do this to his entire population and take away all their freedoms and biometrically track them, introduce them into the surveillance Orwellian police state and the New World Order, just remember that by pushing this war along, you're supporting him and the fact that they stood down and allowed themselves to be invaded so it could conveniently provide a ruse for them to cement their power in the new system and the order that we've been warning about for years. But we already all know that. So let's talk about the book of Amos, or Amos. It talks about the destruction and punishment of Israel and the prophecy. Okay, he's one of the first prophets in the Old Testament, right towards the end before you get into the New Testament and the gospel. And it basically talks about the sin of the churches. It talks about the sin of the Israeli people. Okay, not just its neighbors in Damascus and Syria, Lebanon, Persia, what is now Iran, but it also places blame on Israel itself. See, don't be mistaken. The Israelis are just as sinful as you and I. They're just as sinful and corrupt, okay, as any other nation, any other people. It says so in the Bible. It says so in the Old Testament, and God will judge them well. He will judge them as well in the Old Testament. Again, he rains fire, he destroys Israel, then he rebuilds it and rebuilds the Holy Land, of which the rivers flow again, once with wine, etc. Now, this has already happened from my understanding of Scripture in the past regarding the great Israeli nation state, which I support. And I love the Jewish people. After all, Jesus was a Jew, so I love Jesus and I love Jewish people. However, this is testimony to what's currently going on, because there is great sin being committed by all nations now. And I understand that this is the prophecy. Again, you have to have end of days. You have to have end of world. You have to have nuclear war. You have to have all these things. So then, of course, they can tee up the peacemaker, the Antichrist, that will be the great deceiver right before they start marking people in the middle of their foreheads with the mark of the beast, which I've been warning you about, Neuralink, etc. Elon Musk and others, other companies like Synchron, sponsored by Bill Gates, etc., are going to put these chips in your head. So they can't do this without a huge cataclysm. Okay, they need the American people, the Israeli people, and the Palestinian people all to be begging on their knees for the mark of the beast. Okay, so that they so desperately want it, and they're so desperately depending on this Antichrist deceiver in this figure that's going to patch everything up and promise a falsehood of peace and prosperity. They're going to first need war. And this is what it's building up to. This is far different than what you baby boomers grew up with. This isn't just a skirmish. This is a holy war, World War III, and it's all an illusion. For the financial reset, economic collapse, CBDC reset, and this thing. They want your body. Okay, this is why they rolled all this stuff out in recent years. It was all about biological genetic control. And now this is the next stage. Hook, line, and sinker, so easy to predict. So look, I want you guys to look at this through the lens of biblical speaking. I want you to look at the lens, a bird's eye view, okay? Would Jesus go out and commit these war crimes right now on either side? No, he would not. He would not. He would promote peace. In fact, it was governments that executed him on a cross that couldn't be trusted. It was those same corrupt governments and officials that are calling for war now that actually executed Jesus Christ. See, Jesus knowingly gave himself up to sacrificially give himself up in his own blood for the sacrifice of his children, for you and me. He promoted peace. He was a peacemaker. This does not mean that he will not protect his children. This does not mean that he will not judge with fury. This does not mean that he's not coming with fire and brimstone, as it warns about in the Bible in his second coming. No, there will be punishment for the gross atrocities and crimes and the sins of all nations. Not just the Israelis and their corrupt politicians, but the Americans and their corrupt politicians, the Syrians and their corrupt politicians, the corrupt politicians in Iran, these groups, these rogue groups that are doing terrible and heinous acts. Everybody will be judged. which is why fire is coming next. So here's what people don't understand. It tells you in the book of Amos, you don't want to wish for the return of Christ because it'll be the most ghastly thing you've ever seen. I mean, I want Jesus to come, but what he is saying is those wishing for it falsely that are sinning are about to experience the most pain in the hell on earth, in the prophecy that's in the book of the Revelation, in a burning fire of which even your bones are burnt, it says in Amos. It's going to be terrible. So as you're rawing, as you're going along, as many people are, just like sheeps, bawing along, just like they did before through the lockdowns and the toilet paper runs and the freak show of the last couple of years. Now they're bawing into their own destitution. They're bawing into their own fire and brimstone. They're bawing like sheep all the way as they jump off the side of a cliff. They don't even know it. So get ready. Just guys, get ready right now. You need to be so prepared, so ready for what is coming, because the elites have now opened up Pandora's box where you're going to have multi-conflagrating wars all over the Middle East. The whole Middle East is in an uproar. America is now at war with Iran. They've stated that. We're at war with almost every country right now. Ukraine, Taiwan, imminently invaded soon. It gets far, far worse. So multi-pronged war, you're going to lose track of this. America, of course, will be bankrupted by all of this. Okay, we're seeing the financial markets will collapse. They're not really sure what to do yet. Okay, they're trying to figure this out. But as the war escalates, as Taiwan is attacked, as it's obvious that Putin is winning in Ukraine and the Americans are losing, and as we have a next big event, there's going to be another one, okay? It's not over yet. I told you don't have time to mourn. If you thought what happened in Israel on 10/7 was bad, wait until the big show. There's going to be a big light show. Get ready, get your money out of the banks, join communities like ours, get your cash flows on, be positive, get physically fit. You're going to need it because you're sending your kids to war, and it's coming here to the homeland in the United States of America. So that's what you're promoting, and you need to understand this. You people out there that want this war, the church is calling for war. It's coming here. It's coming right here to your backyard, to your town, to your city, to your state. They've already left the borders open and they've planted these cells here in the United States. So now they're going to open this up just like they wanted for more master control, surveillance, and the Orwellian police state, again, that I've been warning about, so they can push and jam all this down your throat and then genetically, biologically integrate you into the new system and the mark, introduce the Antichrist to save you, and then hell is unleashed in the 7-year tribulation period, of course, that we know about in the Bible. Once they sign the peace deal, which could be within the next, 12 months at the current pace, then that's how you know everything else is coming. Locusts, mass pain and suffering, fires, total destruction, famine, war, people perishing by the billions. And this is what people are pushing. They all want it. We see it psychologically now. They all are pushing this. The entire mainstream media is pushing this. The mainstream churches are calling for war. All of a sudden, they're not peacekeepers anymore. They're not walking with Jesus. They want war. This corrupt world, and this is the point, this corrupt, sinful, destitute, disgraceful world is going to burn now. And you have to understand, if you're not on the side of peace and you're not getting your own heart right with God, in my opinion, I say it humbly as a servant of Jesus, you're on the wrong side of history. More importantly, you're on the wrong side of truth. And more important than that, you're not standing with Jesus. So, we hear Biden and these guys say they stand with Israel. I stand with Jesus. I stand with Jesus. I don't stand with Benjamin Netanyahu. That guy's a corrupt fraud. I don't stand with any of his policies, any of those politicians. I don't stand with this thing at all. I don't stand with biological integration. I don't stand with the mark of the beast. I don't stand with your surveillance state, your facial recognition software. I don't stand with going through airports and being felt up on my testicles. I don't support any of that. So no, I don't stand with the Israeli politicians. I stand with the Israeli people, the great people of Israel, the chosen people, my brothers and sisters, the people that I love. But there is a difference. And now they're taking you to World War III. Links below.